Welcome to another episode of a Stop! Bang! Welcome to another episode of A Breath of Fresh Jacob, where you keep asking me questions and I keep forgetting to do something important to my hair.
Let's go.
Today's question comes from Treble Notes and says, should walking simulators and visual novels be considered games, or would they be better described as pieces of art? This is an interesting question. I say that a lot, but this is a really interesting question. I mean, my initial thought is, why not both? They can be games and they can be art, because a lot of video games I would absolutely consider to be pieces of art. You've got two parts in there. You've got walking simulators and you've got visual novels. I'm going to look at them separately because I feel like they deserve to be looked at separately. For those of you who don't know what a walking simulator is, it's a game that is pretty much just about walking and experiencing an environment, experiencing a story. You don't really do much other than just walk forward and experience everything that happens around you. Now, this leads to some interesting questions, and that is, what defines a walking simulator? When I think walking simulator, my first thought is a game like The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which, by the way, fantastic game. You should go play it. And I may be talking about things that happen mid-game in there, so if you're concerned about spoilers, go play it first and then come back. We'll be here because this is a recording. And that's how recordings work. Anyway.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So, with a game that is considered to be a walking simulator, at what point does adding more game mechanics change it from being a walking simulator to a normal game? And I think that's really important to look at. For example, with The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, you have game mechanics, you have like puzzle solving stuff. You have this mechanic where you can kind of have like this detective sense type thing going on, which is really cool. And it works really well, not only as a mechanic, but within the confines of the story as well. And it's how you get to see what's happened before you were there. So because that has interesting game mechanics, does that make that more or less of a walking simulator? And that's what I find very fascinating. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but you may have a game that is a walking simulator where you literally just walk from point A to point B. It might take you an hour and a half to walk from point A to point B, but what happens along that walk defines the game. It might look pretty, and that's it. It could just literally be look at the pretty scenery and that's it. Or maybe experience some changing music as you go. Maybe meet some characters, talk to them. But as long as you're just generally walking and not really doing any gameplay, that is more of a pure walking simulator. And if I do quotes one more fucking time, I'm gonna lose my shit. But using The Vanishing of Ethan Carter as an example again, it has more mechanics. It has those puzzle solving elements. So does that take it from being a walking simulator to being a puzzle game? Or does it retain its status of being a walking simulator? Like, how far can you go with this walking simulator? How many mechanics can you add before it is no longer that? And I think that's what makes this question so interesting. It's a very subjective thought. What would make or break a walking simulator game? I think on their own, a walking simulator that doesn't really do anything wouldn't make for a very interesting game. I guess by definition, it's still a game, but I personally wouldn't consider it to be so unless it's doing something with what you're experiencing. Like with The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, with the ability to investigate things and to interact with the things around you and see the different interactions that characters had in the past and solve the puzzles and stuff. That to me makes it a game. But a pure walking simulator where you're doing pretty much nothing but walking, I really wouldn't consider that a game myself. Now that said, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, I would consider it a piece of art. You know why? Because it's really pretty. Fun to walk through those environments, to see those meticulously crafted details that whoever made that game named there. You could see, you could walk through, you could see the forests and the mountains and the sunshine, and it's really pretty, and it can invoke emotions in you in the same way that looking at a piece of art does. So by that definition, yeah, it is a piece of art as well, but it is also a video game. That's just my thoughts on that. Now, the other one that you talk about, I have a bit more experience with visual novels. And I have another comparison that's like, is this still considered a visual novel? Danganronpa. Danganronpa, a lot of people would consider to be a visual novel because there is a whole lot of dialogue. There's a lot of walking around and just talking to people, not really doing anything else, until suddenly you're in an investigation or a class trial, and then suddenly you're playing a murder mystery. You're playing a Ace Attorney type game. You're playing a find the hidden item type thing. I mean, that doesn't really happen that much, but you know, you're trying to figure out what's different in this room and that kind of stuff. That goes from being a visual novel to being a proper game. I did it again. As far as Danganronpa goes, I think it's more game than visual novel because of how you are able to interact with it. Now, something like Steins Gate is more of a raw visual novel. Because of that, I would consider Steins Gate to be more a work of art rather than a video game, because I mean, it's a visual novel. You're basically having a book read to you. Well, an audiobook. I wouldn't really call it any different than watching a movie. It just happens that you're advancing the dialogue, and people consider movies pieces of art, so why not visual novels? Sure, I think they should be considered pieces of art. But when you have games that start to throw gameplay elements to make it more interactable, to put you in there with what's happening, I think that pulls away from visual novel. Do I still think that games like Danganronpa are visual novels? To a degree, yes, absolutely. But I do think they are more game than visual novel. But again, that doesn't make them any less works of art, because video games can be works of art, in my opinion. Unfortunately, much like art, sometimes you get people that just like throw a can of paint at a piece of paper and they just call it art. We get our shovelware games. People are like, ooh, look at this game. It's so cool. And it's just, look at this horse. It walks around in a circle in the Unity engine. Please give me $5. It's like, ugh, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a strange answer, but it's one of those thought-provoking things because it's so subjective as to what people consider to be art and what they don't. Like when I think art, I think of like...
What's the problem, officer? You drive over 80 miles per hour. That's illegal.
Emotes on Twitch, or the people that make them, and like the art that, like, just for example, like Eyes has made some incredible art. When I think art, I think that kind of stuff. And I think of music. I think of like a concert hall with like an orchestra making something incredible. That's what I think of when I think of art. But video games are still art. So I guess by definition, that means that video game makers are artists. So remember that. But I had fun with this one. That was a good question. It was a good welcome back to me to being able to do these, because Mario Week took up a lot of my time and I wasn't able to record these as much as I wanted to. We're getting back on track, and it was a really good question, so well done on that. Just remember, loving an elevator means living it up while you're going down. We'll see you next time. Love in an elevator.